Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Wednesday night, a hump day, a victory Wednesday. So pumped to be here with you guys on this pre-Georgia midweek show. I just got done doing the offensive breakdown from Oklahoma, so we'll break that down. Some real awesome contributions in that game and some stuff once I looked under the hood with the offensive line that I thought was super interesting that we'll share here. We also have Cody. He has his Georgia players to watch. We'll talk about that. We didn't get into our SEC rankings update yesterday, so maybe we could talk about that. And as I usually do, I was listening to the SEC Media Day coaches call today. Do you want to start with that? Do you want to start with the SEC coaches media call?
Did it seem to you like it was more boring than usual and that one person asked about 75% of the questions?
Well, it's always that one guy, Steve Moulton from WZZN. And he always
3 questions per coach. I was like,
dude, but I mean, honestly, they wouldn't let him ask that many questions if there were that many people piled up to ask.
That's
right?
the thing.
So I mean, it's like he's just like, well, like I got this radio show, and where is WZZN? Let me look that up and see. It's probably some little like, who knows? People are probably laughing and saying, oh, that's the Nashville's biggest station or something. WZZN is ESPN 97.7 The Zone in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay. Right in the heart of our conference.
Oh yeah, man. That guy's got a question for every coach. And the other question that kept getting asked was the stuff about that the Oregon reporter from the Oregonian or whatever started asking every coach about what they thought about the 12-man on the field rule, and a bunch of different answers. I kind of thought that their answers to that were pretty interesting. I was hoping he was going to ask Sark, but he didn't. Heck, I mean, if I wanted to know that bad, I guess I could have hopped on and asked him. But I would have been interested to hear with Sark. Basically, what people say about that 12 men on the field thing is they say that that's something that's kind of been the only one that acted like it was something that it had been where there'd been a lot of places where they'd talked about that before and where that was something that they were even really like cognizant of, right? That they would even practice that thing. Was who was it? Was it
Kiffin?
Was it Kiffin?
Yep.
No, because Kiffin didn't say that Kiffin said
he was asked if he's practiced that. And he goes, yes, we've practiced that and other stuff. And then he circled it into bringing up the injured players thing. And he's like, I think it's interesting that everyone thinks this is so cool, but and it's twisting the rules, but then with people getting injured, people get upset and they want to get rid of it. But it's the same thing.
Right. There was one though who said like, yeah, that was something where like basically everywhere I've been, I didn't write it down, so I don't know who it was. So my bad on that. But it was he was like everywhere I've been, we've talked about that, but you don't want to implement it because there are ways where it can come back and bite you, and you can look like a real donk for doing it. But most of these guys are just like, it's interesting to me because none of them wanted to say it's total dirtball except for kind of Kiffin. Kiffin doesn't really pull any punches, right? Nobody wanted to say that it's a dirtball move, but it was interesting what they did say was that, they definitely need to look into it. But as far as Lanning, it's the coach's creed, man. Like it's really bad to throw another coach under the bus, kind of, you know what I mean? And so they said, give him credit for doing something creative like that to help him get a win. And then the follow-up would always be like, well, do you guys practice that situationally? And everybody's like, DeBoer said no. It was who else said no? Pittman said no.
Shocker.
Heupel said no. That's not something that we've incorporated here. It was and then I think that did Lebby say he'd no? like basically everybody said like, congrats to him, whatever. Do you guys do it or do you guys practice that situationally? And they're like, no, we don't do that. So I just, to me, I was just thinking in my head, I was like, okay, if this is something where you know that there's a rule that you're allowed to exploit and other teams are exploiting it, even if you think it's kind of dirtball, shouldn't you be practicing it situationally? Is it a little bit bad not to be?
Yeah. I mean, they switched the rules today, right? NCAA came in and literally switched the rule today.
Oh no, I didn't know. Okay, so this is all
So I
new.
know I know you've been working on the deep dig, so I assume maybe you hadn't seen this because I know we listened to the conference call up until I don't know what it was 1:30 Eastern I
Yeah,
think it did. This came down at about 2:24 Eastern from the NCAA. That said, it was kind of a football rule interpretation issued for substitution rule. If defense has more than 11 players on the field in the final 2 minutes of the half, the game clock can reset. After the 2-minute timeout in either half, if the defense commits a substitution foul and 12 or more players are on the field and participate in it down, officials will penalize the defense for the foul and, at the option of the offended team, reset the game clock back to the time displayed at the snap.
why was it not always like that?
I
I
just
think, dude, I think Lanning is. I mean, at first, you and I were just like, man, we don't know if this guy's just a dunce or whether he's a genius. Man, it's like maybe he's a genius.
yeah.
I'd never thought about this. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like, and do you know what, man? I think that half these coaches on that call that said, especially the one, and I wish I could remember who it was. It's like, yeah, maybe it was Hugh Freeze that said, yeah, we've talked about that every place I've been. You know, just like he was kind of talking too much about it. Everybody else was kind of like, nah, yeah, like, well, congrats, dude. So it's almost. I'm not sure that any of them had ever thought about it. It's just it's pretty. It's pretty. I mean,
Moore basically said that when you coach long enough, you kind of have all of these things memorized. Like he's like, you have everything memorized. Like, in the final minutes of the game, you know how many exact minute and seconds need to be on the clock for you to kind of milk a clock out. He goes, you just kind of know the rules and the situations, but you don't always take advantage of them.
I've been saying this for years. Jay Wags 25. Dan Lanning looks like Herman. He does, man. I can't get over how much he looks like Herman. Those two, they look like twins. Just I guess some interesting things from that. We'll just, since we're on the conference call. Kirby Smart really high on Trey, really high on Trey Wisner. Thought that was interesting. Travis Gailey at Orange Bloods asked him about him. I think that he has something going on with his column today with Trey Wisner. I didn't read it, so maybe he's trying to get quotes for it. But he just like Kirby Smart's like, dude, I thought their tailbacks all got hurt. He's like, I turn on the tape this week. It's like, it's like they got a stockpile. It's like they got Wisner and they got Gibson. And they're like, we recruited Gibson. Like, he's good. Like those guys are all good, man. It's just like he said just for them, it's yards after contact. They just kind of chew up the yards after contact. Napier, somebody straight up asked Napier how he, what he felt about the people saying he's on the hot seat. They're going to host Kentucky this week. Who did you pick in that one? Do you know what the line is in that?
That's like a battle. That's like a battle of the. I don't want to say that. I don't think Stoops is quite on the hot seat, but I picked Kentucky in this one. The line's 1.5 in favor of Florida. It's in the swamp.
Oh gosh, Kentucky's getting 1.5.
Yeah,
I'm taking Kentucky. He said, but he just kind of dodged the question. It's just, I'm proud of how the players have handled that adversity. We can't control any of that outside noise, yada yada. He did, talked about how Mertz, out for the season, whatever. Lagway's in, and he said he doesn't think it's going to be a big fall off because he prepares each week like he's going to start anyway. But I'm like, why didn't he just have him starting anyway?
Veteran. This conversation was had before the season. I think it's like one of those unspoken things. Like everybody knows Legway's better than Mertz. It's just that Mertz kind of has gone through the fire. He transferred from Wisconsin. He just was there. It was going to be. It's tough to play it to start a true freshman over a senior.
But okay, all right. I mean, I get it, but I mean, I
If
think this could be one of the.
if my tail end was on the hot seat, I'm playing Legway. I'm playing.
Yeah, dude. So am I. I think it could be like what it
I want
like.
the boosters to see this kid play so that they believe I recruited him and that he's going to be good, and lead us to victories in the next 3 years. And I'm going to be the one on the sideline making the play calls.
Yeah. Venables, he hosts South Carolina.
Gosh, man, talk about
He's like I told you, dude. He's like a sad sack, man.
I was I listened to this thing on my bike ride, and I'm like riding, and this is just like depressing. Like you can just hear how like his tone has just changed so dramatically in the last 6 months from where this team obviously was to where it is now. It's I mean this guy just
What is wrong with him, man? He needs to get it together.
and he's like and like he's like the alpha male of all alpha males in this whole conference. I'm just like, man, I like him. I understand he's the Oklahoma coach, but I've always liked him at Clemson. You always remember they had the pullback guy for him at Clemson. He's going nuts on the sideline, and now it's like he's just kind of like I don't know if he's becoming an old man. I don't know what he is, like 60. Is he 62, 63, something like that? But like
I don't know.
He can't 53. Oh my God, I'm off by 10 years.
He looks old though, man. He's like a shell of a man.
But I guess he's only 53.
Dude, he's like 10 years older than me, Cody.
Yeah, he looks.
I mean, that's wild, man. I hope I'm not some. Gosh, I mean, he sounded like a sad sack today, dude. Yeah. You and I were thinking the same. You texted me. You're like, dude, what's up with Venables? I'm like, dude, I think he's just playing this kind of He doesn't want the media he's trying to curl up. He's trying to turtle up so the media feels bad for him. I think so they don't write mean things about him. But
I mean, if you go over there on the OU Insider right now and all those, they're not in a good place. Those boards are not in a good place right now. So I can understand him taking that kind of that directive in the media.
Well, and it did.
Like as soon as the game was over, if you go back and watch, as soon as the game was over, he went in there. I believe he went there by himself to start, and then the players came in after, and he was the same way. It was just like you could just tell he was just zapped.
Yeah, he still is. I mean, if he's like that around the team, I mean, South Carolina's gonna beat him.
Oh yeah, they won't score a point. This South Carolina defense, we've been talking about it all year. This South Carolina defense is real.
I can't believe that you say that I'm always so down on South Carolina and I have them ranked like 3 spots higher than you in the latest updates to the SEC rankings.
What?
Yeah, you have them ranked lowest of anybody.
No way.
Yeah, way. I was one of the ones that Ketch said was the highest on him, and you were the one that Ketch said was lowest.
Let me check this out. I got him at 12.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't have it memorized where I have them. We have okay. So the what?
No, I'm thinking to my head. I'm like, I guess I could put him 10. Like I think that whole area is just.
What is the area?
For me, it's 9 to 15. I think it's just a cluster of
no. South Carolina is better than 15. Get
I said 9 to 15.
I know, but 9 and 15, there's a world of difference.
9 to 15 is a cluster of inconsistent, one-sided football garbage. Like there's each team you can tell yourself a story.
No, the cluster I've noticed is like 11 through 15.
Well, what you just act like that was like some big difference. 9 to 15, 11.
Look up the rankings, and I'll tell you why. So with mine, it was pretty clear to me that. Hold on, let's see.
Who's your 9 and 10?
I'll tell you right now.
Because that doesn't mean you have them
rankings October 15th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have Vanderbilt 9, Kentucky 10, South Carolina 11. Arkansas 12, and then I think 13, 14, 15, 16, Oklahoma, Florida, Auburn, and there's even a difference between 14 and 15 because Auburn stinks. So Florida, Oklahoma, it feels like are in the same kind of tier, but I think Vandy, Kentucky, South Carolina, Arkansas. I think 12 when you're in the top 12, you're in a different tier than those bottom 4. I don't think 9 through 15 is the same tier.
Okay, well, I have Vandy at 8.
Okay, I think I have them at pretty close to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, so you're saying 9. What's your tier? 9 to what? 9 and 10 are not in that bottom tier we're talking about?
No, I think 9, 10, and 11 are in that tier with Vandy, Kentucky, and South Carolina.
Okay, so you have those guys in the tier above. Okay. Where do you
Yeah.
have Missouri?
What?
Where do you have Missouri? 8?
8.
Okay.
But anyway.
That's fair. I mean, I can see putting a tier between that group and Oklahoma, Florida, Auburn.
I kind of think South Carolina should be favored over Oklahoma if they're going to have that same quarterback and that same offensive situation. Are they getting back Deion Burks? They didn't give an update.
What I saw yesterday was that they're wishfully thinking, or some weird phrase like that. Like they're wishfully thinking he'll be back. It's 2.5, so technically the books probably look at it like a push.
Yeah, the old boomer 3, the old boomer 3 for being at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm picking South Carolina in it straight up. Like,
yeah, in the run your pool contest, I'll be doing it. Hope you guys are still. I think a bunch of people are still doing that pool. We're gonna have a cool prize for our winner, our SEC pick'em over on Run Your Pool. Make sure to make sure and go check that out. And also just a couple notes. We have a couple of different announcements that we need to make today. Besides our regular shilling of the greatness of Texas Beef Traders and Poncho Outdoors and Specs, The Outsiders is on tonight, and they're having on Reese Davis on their show. So then that's a really big get for them. And so they want to let everybody know about it. So please tune in to The Outsiders tonight. Is it 8:30?
8:30.
8:30, The Outsiders, right here on the channel. That's Bo Edge and Chance Mock and Chad and Jason and
Blake.
Blake is going to be there. So make sure and give those guys some love. The Outsiders tonight. They're having on Reese Davis, and Chance Mock has a bone to pick with him because he called him an intramural quarterback on game day the other day. Okay, let's see.
Before we move on past the SEC rankings, we brought them up, so I might as well ask you the question: where do you have A&M?
Let me see. I got to get back to that tab. I have A&M at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, I put them at 5, ahead of LSU and Ole Miss, and I sent that in on like Monday morning at the crack of dawn, and it's now Wednesday night, and I kind of think you're probably more right than I. I think Mississippi might play around with them. It wouldn't surprise me if Mississippi State got their win against A&M this week.
Why?
I don't know.
Is it the matchup, or you just kind of being a trash?
It's one of those vibe things. Like,
okay,
they've played Georgia and Texas very tough the last 2 weeks. They're either going to roll over because they're going to be exhausted from getting, playing against these two massive teams in the trenches, or they're going to, like Lebby said on the call, like they haven't played at home in 30 days. They're either that, or they're going to love getting back home, and they're going to have this opportunity to knock off a big team. They're battle tested, and they're going to go in and they can ride with anybody. I really think they just proved it the last 2 weeks that they can ride with anybody and they can score points. So if they can stop the run and run the ball early, I think if you can slow the run down for A&M against A&M, and you can establish a little bit of the run as Mississippi State and then start scoring points, I think that you can hang around. And all it takes is a little funny game from old Weigman, and all of a sudden Mississippi State might be up 10 at some point in that game when we look up on Saturday afternoon.
Venables, I mean, one of the things I think that tilted him was like his first 3 questions out of the box were just like people talking about the UGA Texas game and saying, what's it like going against Sark? How did you had a little bit of success versus him early in the game. Like, what did you do to find that success? And he had to act like, he's like, well, whenever we were having success, we were sticking to our fundamentals and blah blah. It's just like, but it's so weird that people are asking him for advice about how to defeat Sark, and it was a tilting little 10 to 15 minutes there for Venables today. Sam Pittman, he hosts LSU. It looks like they'll probably get Taylon Green back soon, but maybe not this week. He says that he's still not full speed, but he thinks there's a possibility he could get there. Somebody asked if Texas is the biggest rivalry that that Arkansas has, or whether it's turned to LSU now. I kind of think he thinks it's LSU, because he was saying you have a long history with anybody, you know the proximity, and you know that we're recruiting against each other, and that puts a different feel towards the game. And when you put a trophy in there, that's a whole lot, right? I don't think Texas and Arkansas have a trophy for their game. Maybe they did. Maybe some of you old Southwest. I didn't watch Texas in the Southwest Conference. I don't know. Was there a trophy in that game?
I'm looking up the history of it right now. Game of the century, 1967. Said having announced that he would give Bush of Texas and John Paul Hermanstein of Arkansas, having announced they would give a plaque to the winner. I think that was just the 1969 game, though.
Oh,
I don't think that there was ever a trophy in this one.
I guess there's a trophy in it for the LSU Arkansas.
Is that the boot?
I don't know.
I think that's the boot, isn't it? And that double stated where it's Arkansas on top and then Louisiana.
Oh, maybe, yeah. That's I think you're exactly right. But he's just saying that there's a lot of significance in that game and what it means to Arkansas. I think that you're correct there.
24 Battle of the Golden Boot. That's what it is.
Battle of the Boot. Okay. So he thinks that LSU's become the bigger rivalry, and of course he thinks that. Like, that's what he's known when he's there. I personally don't think Texas really has any room for an additional rival anymore.
I think I mean, what's proper? When you think of proper rivalries, it's like it should be two. It should be like if you have an in-state one, that should be your biggest rival.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, an out-of-state or a close-by state or something like that. I think the two is proper. Arkansas, if anything, they're like the little, you know, third cousin that wants to be but it seems like maybe LSU is taking that over.
It's fitting to call it's fitting for Arkansas to call him a third cousin, I think. You can do a lot with your third cousin in Arkansas. Hey man, do you know who Sam Pitt? Do you know who they always ask about? Who's the transfer lineman name? Is his name Carmona? Something like just something Carmona. Gosh, people love this guy. So like I haven't watched him yet.
Carmona.
What?
Fernando Carmona.
Yeah, we need to keep an eye on this guy just for draft stuff, Cody. Just the way people talk about him, and they're like, what has he done to get so good, and all this. Like, those are the kinds of questions that they ask about Carmona. And Pittman just says that, dude, this is a guy that has all the athletic ability in the world. And now that he just says now he's just getting his technical stuff down, and you're just seeing what it's like whenever a guy that's that athletic can get his technical stuff right. So we just need to keep an eye on him for draft stuff. The Tennessee Volunteers, they host Alabama. He said, I didn't really take too much away from this, except for this thing about how there's this narrative out there with some of the SEC media reporters that Bama's been struggling against the shovel pass. And that's something that apparently they attribute Heupel's offense to doing a lot of that. And they asked him to just talk about the shovel pass and why that might be hurting Alabama. And he's like, you could tell that wasn't anything he wanted to get into very much. So maybe he is really thinking about it. But he's just like, I don't think much about it. He's like, there's all kinds of different forms. There's different structures. At the end of the day, you're just trying to find angles. He kind of dismissed the idea, but I might keep an eye on that, some kind of Nico shovel pass stuff this week. It seems like some people in the SEC have some cockamamie idea about that. As we mentioned, Shane Beamer's going to Oklahoma.
I had one thing from Bama.
Oh, okay.
The one thing that I kind of caught me off guard, I guess, a little bit from Bama was I can't remember who asked Kalen DeBoer about it, but I think it was like a little gap, and then they re-asked him a third question. It might have been that guy that we were talking about with WZZN. But he said that he listened back to the opening press conference that Kalen had when he went to Bama, and he mentioned that he goes, I told Nick Saban, or he goes, you asked Nick Saban for one thing a day. And that's all. He said, give me one thing a day, DeBoer said to Saban at that opening press conference. And the reporter asked him, what is an example of one thing a day that Saban has given you or told you? And Kalen DeBoer kind of gave him kind of like he didn't say this outright, but he was basically like, well, when I do see him or when he is in the building, then, that's kind of how that works. But I mean, he definitely picks up the phone for me and stuff, but he basically, and I think this happened right when Kalen DeBoer got the job, was everybody knows that Nick Saban still has an office there, but he's obviously not there because the way that Kalen DeBoer kind of answered that question was basically like, yeah, I get one thing a day when he's here and when you can see him, but it sounds like he's pretty much probably.
I think him and Miss Terry are at their house where they Spanish Fort or wherever they got their place, and then he's does he even still live in Alabama, or did he get a?
I'm sure he does, but he's also on game day.
He got something on 30A, didn't he? And then also, of course, he's got the game day stuff. So he's having to travel and do a lot of stuff.
But I just thought it was weird that he was asked that question, because it was a good question, but then he was like, yeah, I mean, when you see him, but I don't ever see him. So I don't exactly.
Do you think that he would ever consider coaching again?
Saban?
Yeah.
I think he's content.
I think so. Because I was thinking the other day, it feels like, we've talked about Belichick.
If you could tell Belichick wants to coach, he wouldn't be doing a podcast right now if he didn't want to, I don't think.
Well, why not just do the podcast and just go on McAfee's show and collect, you could probably collect about $1 million a year through some, you could cobble together probably 1 million, 1.5 a year with your various fees to the different stuff. Dude, I bet you Underdog's probably paying him $750K for that podcast.
You know why?
What? Why?
Simple. Because Brady has a ring that he doesn't.
You think he's that? Oh, no.
These guys are maniacal, dude.
Well, I mean, probably, yeah. To get to that level, I think to get to that level, I mean, you gotta have some wires that are just wired a little bit differently, right? Than what we're kind of used to dealing with, for sure.
I think he's in the perfect spot for him right now. He's in the worst spot for the NFL right now. Him and Vrabel getting a full year off to just go into this next draft cycle and this next coaching cycle and basically get to pick their spot. Two franchises are going to be in good places in 6 months.
Well, the two of us are going to be in a good place this Friday. Football with Friends live show and meetup at Texas Beef Traders, Friday, October 18th. So mark your calendars. Texas Beef Traders is right there in the heart of Lakeway, centrally located. It's an easy drive in from Austin, super easy drive in from West Austin. We're going to be there I'll be there probably a little bit before 5:30. And I'm going to bring some shuffleboard, and there's going to be beers up there. And we're going to cook up steaks and burgers and sausages and all kinds of stuff. Well, we won't, but Darren, I'm assuming Darren and Shay are going to be doing that stuff, and it's just going to be delicious, man. You can try out all the foods they have there, the delicious meats from MTX Ranch in Mason, Texas, from Texas Piedmontese in Lukenbach, and from Iron Table Wagyu in Gatesville. The MTX beef is so delicious, man. It's processed right there in Mason, Texas. It has no vaccines, no antibiotics, no steroids. The herd's never commingled. They have bovine nutritionists on staff. That's how much they care about it. You can go to Texas Beef Traders and get 10% off anything that you order, anything. It's a giant value, and it's the best. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Go check him out. Look at Money B. He's saying that he might make it to Texas Beef Traders. Money B, you got to make it out, brother. You come get dominated in some cornhole. All right. And come drink some beers, man. All you guys, Texas Beef Traders. And if you can't make it out, just call up there, make an order, get 10% off. Just tell Darren that you can't make it out there. Make plans for him to bring it to your house. TexasBeefTraders.com. Okay.
How about this deep dig? You want to talk about this deep dig?
Sure. Before we do that, we have a bunch of announcements we got to make today. So let's just do this. The Orange Bloods free trial through the rest of the season. Use promo code TEXUGA. That's valid through 10/9/24, 10/19/24. So you got 3 more days to get in on this. Look, once you can scan the QR code, it'll take you right there. But once you join Orange Bloods, you're never going to not join Orange Bloods. I found that out the hard way back in 2003. I was a member of that site for 10 years before Catch hired me on as a. I can't believe, I think I'm the only moderator from Orange Bloods that's actually been banned for creating hijinks in inside the 40 acres boards multiple times. But it's fun. It's a great community. It's the largest sports community in all of the land, and that's actually true. It's the world's biggest team site. So make sure and check out Orange Bloods. You can read all my stuff, read all of Cody's stuff. If you like this here on the show, you'll love the written content over there at Orange Bloods, and go check that out. And then the other thing is the watch party, Texas versus UGA. That will be at Texas Card House, TCH Social. This place is like a sports bar. They have giant TVs. I saw photos of it. If I didn't have radio on Saturdays, I would want to go host one of these. I mean, it looks amazing. It's like going into a Las Vegas sports bar. Don't even worry about the cards if you don't want to play cards. Just go in there and drink $1 beers and hang out with like Chad. I think Jason's going to be up there, he said. Or no, Jason has to go to go stalk the young boys at the game. But Chad's going to be up there with some other people from Orange Bloods. So go up and check it out. I mean, $1 beer and $2 electric jellyfish. Where on earth are you going to get that? Go up to Texas Card House Social and go watch the game with the guys.
Alex, what's an electric jellyfish? Is that just a Jello shot?
No, you know that oh gosh, the place where you stop to get pizza next to the airport. That's the sponsor of so much stuff around here. Yeah, the Pine House. They make it, and it's like it's the only IP. Do you know how IPAs are just generally bad?
Yeah, I hate them.
I hate them, but this is an IPA.
Okay,
and it's
okay.
But dude, it's delicious. It's actually good.
I assumed this was like a Jello shot. I was like $2 jellyfish. I don't know what this thing is, but
yeah,
it's on.
I'm assuming it's electric jellyfish because whenever you buy them, like if you buy it at Specs, you can only buy it in 4-packs, and guess how much it costs? It's 16-ounce glasses. 16 ounce. No, it's $18 for 4, and so it's like much cheaper. I'd imagine they just have it on draft there, and that's how they can get away with charging $2 for it.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so that's at Texas Card House Social. All right, so the deep dig. So my biggest takeaway from this game was okay. Biggest takeaway is Hayden Connor. He's played really, really well these last 2 weeks, and if you just look at the scoring there in the Mississippi State game and the OU game. This was a game where Kelvin Banks played it looks like it's probably his second worst game, third worst game of the year. He was okay. Kelvin Banks gave up his first what? It's true.
82.6.
Yeah. I said in the column, it's like his worst game is Hall of Fame level. Oh my God, stuff from most other players in college football. He's just he's amazing. I was talking to an NFL person today. I was talking to a couple of NFL people today, and there's some stuff I can't write up and some stuff I can. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm going to finally have some stuff in the war room for that. But I mean, everybody's just like, people are just smitten with Kelvin Banks. It's just wild. So on a week where he didn't play well, DJ Campbell's he's trending in a bad way right now.
He's bad. He's coming back, isn't he?
Yes, he's coming back. And that's the thing. It's like he was on DJ Campbell last year was on just a jetpack trajectory. You looked at it, it started out on his kind of red, right? And then it gets white, then it gets blue. And it you know what I mean? It was like a perfect trajectory. With him this year, it's like he had the big game versus Michigan and then sort of versus UTSA is a good one. But dude, it's been a kind of a whimper out of him since the ULM game. And Cole Hudson is still working in with him after he committed that holding penalty. He never got back in the football game because on the play before he gave up a TFL. I think on the whole, when I just look at it here, so here's how it went for all these players. Kelvin Banks allowed his first act of true disruption. He has committed a penalty this season, but he committed his first true act of disruption. So he's all the way down to like what 178.5 snaps per disruption allowed. Just absurd. But he did allow a TFL kind of early in the game, and you have to really, really watch the play and examine the play to understand that he was the one who caused the TFL. I was thinking about sending it to Cody for confirmation to make sure I was right, but I was like, no, I actually know that this is right. That was Kelvin's fault. He also had three knockdowns. Hayden Connor, 63 snaps, no disruption allowed. 2 knockdowns. Jake Majors, 2 pressures allowed. Two knockdowns, 1 just dominant pin block. DJ Campbell played 47 snaps. Cole Hudson played 16. Cole Hudson allowed 1 run stuff. DJ Campbell, 1 pressure allowed, 1 run stuff allowed, 1 TFL allowed, and 1 holding penalty. Pretty brutal.
Is that the worst game of the year? I suppose I'm asking you this question out loud while I have the sheet in front of me. The worst game of the year by any offensive lineman? Cole Hudson had 1 against UTSA. That was a touch worse.
It was a rough game for DJ Campbell, man. And his main problem, I'll tell you just what it is. And it's something that I've never identified with him before. But Venables, that defense and number 52, who
Demonic.
Texas almost got, and then number 90, I've already forgotten.
Is it 95?
Maybe. I'll say this, dude. We talk about this Oklahoma team like they came limping in to the Cotton Bowl, right? And I think we kind of let the fact that was true of the offense and the top 6 wide receivers and Hawkins is kind of too tiny, and it's like
we talked about the defense though.
Here's the thing about the defense. That defense is like watching it back, they're good and they play with a maniacal effort and a ton of energy and they fly to the football and they play with a ton of heart. For as bad as I think that Venables hire is, and for what a sad sack I thought he sounded like today, and for the fact that I think the contract's horrible and all this stuff, dude, that defense plays. I mean, they play with a ton of heart, they play with a ton of energy, they get off the football, they're susceptible to wearing down during drives and stuff like that. But it's like DJ Campbell, he's going to face defenses like that's just clearly the best defense they've played since Michigan. It reminded you of the Michigan defense. And it was like, I think at the beginning of the game, when you come in, you said Quinn was so rusty to start the game. We're like, well, all right. But the offensive line was rusty too. In the first 4 series of that game, they gave up 3 pressures. What was it? 3 pressures. What was it?
5 pressures.
No, in the first 4 series of the game.
Oh yeah.
It was just whenever Quinn was just throwing some ducks and stuff like that. It was okay. So 3 pressures, a TFL, and a run stuff through only 20 through the 21st plays, the first 20 plays. So once every 4 times they were messing up. I mean, it was unacceptable play for the first 4 series from the offensive line. Yep. So I would take that into consideration when you think about how Quinn looked to start the football game. But it was with DJ Campbell. It's this stuff we've talked before about it's not really a double team and inside zone whenever you you're on the 1 shade or you're on the 3 technique and you're just trying to work your 45-degree angle. It's what we call a 3-hand technique, wherever, let's say, Jake Majors has a 1 shade on his, let's say on Jake Majors' left eye, he's got the 1 shade, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So he's going to take his zone angle, and he's not always going to get 2 hands on him, but just picture it like this, right? He's going to get 2 hands inside and he's going to drive him upfield at his 45-degree zone angle. Right. Maybe a little thinner than 45, but just think about a 45-degree angle. Okay. Now, if you picture what Hayden Connor's doing is he's moving to his left, what he needs to do is take his right arm, right, and get it on the outside of the 1 shade to help Majors get him off the line of scrimmage, generate the movement, right? But also, as importantly, let get him to where he's able to gain leverage, right? You don't want that guy to be able to come through your inside hip and be able to do anything where he screws up that cutback lane. So you have a third hand on there as you're working second level to the linebacker, right? What DJ Campbell's doing right now, his three-hand technique is fine, but whenever he's having to work second level, he's doing this stuff where he's losing his feet, dude. I don't get it. He's losing his feet. He's getting overextended. He's taking bad angles to the linebackers, and this was stuff he's like. I just don't understand, because this is stuff that DJ Campbell's usually good at. I mean, yes, he's a phone booth guy. He's bull in a china shop kind of guy, right? Not quite as good in open space, getting to the linebackers, but it's never been like this. That's the thing that he needs to clean up. It's a very specific thing. I think with the pressures that he allowed, that's just, I mean, DJ Campbell is always kind of, it's like he's never been just he hasn't been at the level of like a Kelvin Banks or a Cam Williams as far as the guard. He's probably just about as good as the other guards, except this year Hayden Connor's just gotten so much better. And with Hayden Connor, that it's just not an issue at all. He's engaging so well in space, and I just look at it and I'm like, if this alien named Kelvin Banks wasn't on the football team, and he wasn't once every 176, it's like it feels so unsustainable. It's like how Colin Simmons is still generating production once every 3.5 snaps or something. Right. And you're just like, how's that sustainable? It's like, well, you're like, and your mind says, well, it's not sustainable, Alex. But then we're 6 games through we're like halfway through the season. Football in general is small sample sizes. We're going to get done with this season, and it's going to be a small sample size.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like, can they keep it? Because what is Hayden Connor sitting at in snaps? It's
He's
something
second,
crazy.
he's second all time.
Second all time since 2013. It's better than it's better than Connor Williams and stuff. And it's not just a little better. It's a lot better.
It's a clear, again, you're only 326 snaps in, but it's a clear gap between, of course, Banks to Connor, but then Connor to the field.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he's playing super well. Like I said in my column, I call him Hayden Connor skeleton key. It's like he's the guy no one talks about, but his play has been so solid that when you got guys that was playing like rock stars, like Kelvin Banks and then Cam Williams, and you have such a veteran and Jake Majors, and even though DJ Campbell's struggling, he still had good play. But man, you got a guy like that that's just the most solid and just not allowing things. He's not allowing mess ups. He's not allowing his assignments to mess up plays. And whenever you have that, it's like, man, it really kind of just brings glues that group together right there through the middle, and makes such a big difference, man. I think that he really deserves a ton of recognition. The guy who you wanted to put on the thumbnail deserves a ton of recognition too. And we could talk about him, but I think you have another thing you want to talk about here on the offensive line.
Yeah, well, the thing is with the offensive line, you just kind of talked about Campbell bunch, but what is your, if you're the coach, what do you do with this DJ Campbell thing? Because you see the trend line down since that Michigan game. We talked about that Michigan game being the one that when you build that film and you're looking at film, they're going to go look at that Michigan game because of the defensive tackles he played against. And it's been down since. And now we're going into a Georgia game where he can totally redeem himself. If he drops an 81 and 82 and bounces back to that Michigan level, okay. Well, in two phases here, a player's always going to show you who they are. Take it, right? He's showing you how good he can be, but he's also showing you what he can be on the downward trend. What do you do if you're the coach here? Again, they splitting snaps 47-16 between him and Cole Hudson. Do you start to sprinkle in more Cole Hudson? Do you start to, do you potentially start Cole Hudson maybe against Vandy if it goes down again this week against Georgia? What's kind of your train of thought here based on, again, somebody who, and I can't speak to this, you've literally watched every snap back. You grade every single snap. If you're the offensive line coach or you're the head coach, what is the situation you're looking at right here with DJ Campbell, and how do you think you would correct this? And I guess without opening up to an hour conversation, but like, how do you think you fix this?
Uh, I, I, he needs the number one thing he needs to do is he needs to keep his center of gravity over the balls of his feet whenever he's engaging in his three hand technique before he takes off to the second level. He needs to be, and if that hurts his pad level a tiny bit, it's fine because he's stronger than anybody else. But he can't have his center of gravity out over the balls of his feet as he's helping out with that third hand and taking off to second level, so specifically an inside zone, and usually backside inside zone against a three technique that he's helping Cam Williams out with. That's exactly what I would say.
And would you entertain starting Cole Hudson or splitting reps 50-50?
If he came out and struggled, I would just put Cole Hudson in and then see if it's going to be a Cole Hudson day. Cole Hudson has had some good days, but I mean, DJ Campbell is a lot better than Cole Hudson.
Yeah,
those are your two starters next year. I think. I truly think DJ Campbell's coming back.
I mean, it makes the most sense, right? We're talking about being worried about this offensive line potentially next year, but if you can have Hudson and Campbell as your interior guards, I think that can definitely help glue the offensive line together. And you have Connor Robertson; he'll be back next year, right? Also, you spelled his name wrong.
Oh.
Here. I just noticed that right now. But
who did I spell?
Robertson.
Okay,
but it doesn't matter. But then you have the two young tackles. I think in theory, it sounds good, right?
Yeah. Let's see here. We got a couple questions that I wanted to answer that I saw in the chat. Alan Makeda, I get this all the time. Do you get all 22 film for breakdowns in the off season? Yes. During the regular season, there's no way. No. I got to do this from broadcast film. The good news about this is that with the new TV contracts, it felt like with so many Fox games. Fox shows you the end zone angle or the overhead angle much less often than ESPN. So whereas I would used to get it once every 4 to 5 plays, with the ESPN you get it once every 3.3 plays. So it's not always a great angle, but it's real easy to if you know what the concept is, even from the broadcast angle, you can tell whether or not they're attacking if you identify the concept, you can identify responsibility. If you can identify responsibility, you can grade the play. It's pretty simple. Okay. And then Money B asked, does it happen when we run certain sets zone? Yes, it happens in inside zone. It doesn't happen as badly in outside zone. It's an inside zone. Because in outside zone, it's a little bit easier because the linebackers are flowing because in outside zone, the angle that the running back is taking, it's like I'm trying to think of an easy way to explain. It's more like the running back's more running like a sweep as opposed to running like 2 or 3 technique. And so when the linebackers aren't kind of coming, they aren't coming into you for a car crash. They're going with the flow of the play. And so you can, once you get second level, it's easier then just to turn around and just look for somebody. You just kind of get a hand on them, and it's fine. It isn't the same as you got to get up there, you got to engage them, get hands on them in space. So specifically inside zone. Let's see. Here's Money B with a super chat. Thank you, brother. Okay. $20. Woo! Money B. Money B. Love you, brother. Get out to Texas Beef Traders, man. Come eat some beef. Alex, when you break down the UL, can you pull up a play or two and show us examples moving forward? I can't because the show will get demonetized. Maybe I could do something where I take a still image, but I'm not sure if that's exactly right. There was somebody telling me in the chat one time that's allowed.
You can do stills. Yeah, you can do stills. Like if you put hypothetically, if you were charting and you stopped the play and you screenshotted it, marked it up, and we could definitely run through stuff like that, and I could pop those up on the screen for sure if you had them like that.
Yeah, I'll try and remember to do that the next time I see an example of something that could be a teachable type of play. But thank you for the super chat. And then, yeah, so the stuff about the DJ issue. So that's Inside Zone. More 21 personnel this week. Maybe they ran four snaps out of 21 last week, which was a little bit of an uptick. These last 2 weeks, they've had a little bit of an uptick in 21. Yeah. The other thing, Cody, we have to talk about the Gunnar Helm thing, but we also just have to remember we have a couple things we need to plug. Again, the Outsiders is coming on tonight. They're having Reese Davis on, so make sure and tune in. They're gonna take him to task for calling out Chance Mock on his for being what do they call him? Like a interscholastic league quarterback, something like this. And then they're going to have him on. So make sure they tune in. It's at 8:30 right here on the channel. Also, the Orange Bloods, where is that? And does this one? The Orange Bloods free trial. Just go check it out through the rest of the season. Just use that promo code text UGA. I know a lot of people have taken advantage of it. It's for free for the rest of the season. It doesn't you don't get charged unless you want to stay after. The tough part is you're going to want to stay. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, they offer those trials because they work and people stay. I got 1 month free back in 2003 and look at me. And then the watch party, we have to mention it again for Football with Friends Friday night. Make sure and come out. It'll be a live show. You can come on the show if you want. And then the watch party for the game, the UGA game with Chad and some others, $1 beers at TCH Social. Make sure and go check them out. And then if you want to, you don't have to play cards, but maybe some of you guys are total degenerate creeps like I am. I would be playing cards probably during the game. If cards are flying, like I'm over there playing. I have. You could probably hear just during the show. I have poker chips here that I just roll during shows. So, anyway.
I think we'll be there. I mean, last time we were there, who was playing? SMU and what, Rice or something like that was on the game. This Friday we got a couple good games: Florida State and Duke, Oregon and Purdue on Friday Night Football there when we're at the Texas Beef Traders. So
okay,
we'll have the game on during the show.
Yeah, well, yeah, they do have a TV up there, and today, Cody, was the first time that I got to wear my poncho hoodie. A little bit cool around here today. I walked out to go to my men's church prayer group or our Bible study, and it's super early in the morning, right? Because all these dudes, they all have work, real, they got to get out to their real jobs and stuff. So we have to have this thing at 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, and it was cold this morning when I woke up, dude. It's the first time it's been like this. And sure enough, I saw a bunch of dead deer on the way up to church because they were all clearly moving last night. But if you're into that kind of stuff and you want to, if you're getting out in the woods, you're getting out fishing, stuff like that, man, look at Colt McCoy's shirt. That thing's awesome. They got the 40 Acres denim shirt right now. Cody looks like he's got something he's holding up here. Oh, is that the one I ordered? Oh, dude, that thing is sweet. I told you that the floral print might look a little bit goofy, but that thing looks awesome. I might wear that thing to Texas Beef Traders. Nice.
Built for a little child. It's a large, but.
All right. Yeah, man. Okay. Just the one other thing I wanted to talk about was the opportunities per explosive play. And if you just look, I doubt that. Oh, there, Cody has it pulled up.
You doubt that I got this?
Look at Ryan Wingo and Gunnar Helm.
Dogs.
Dude, all you have to do is throw one of those guys 3 targets. And what this season has told us, give them 3 targets, and they're going to have at least one play where they pop off for 20 yards. Isn't that unbelievable? Once 2.86 and 2.88 for Gunnar Helm. And Gunnar Helm is just something else, dude. One of these NFL scouts I was talking to today was saying, man, he's got a lot of fans. He's got a lot of fans. He's got a lot of juice. What they say is they say juice. And when they say juice, they're not talking about juice the same way that we do. They're saying in the community that they talk about, he's getting a lot of buzz, a lot of juice. He's probably going to win the Mackey. It's just, I can't believe it. If you just look at it, it's like he truly is not quite double, but I mean, almost double as efficient as Isaiah Bond as far as creating explosive plays, and he's a tight end that's a hellacious blocker.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
He's just
do you know one interesting thing I heard about him today, Cody? Can I say the name of his agent? I was told who his agent was today.
is it official?
Okay. Let's just say his last name's Bekta. I'm pretty sure. And he's a guy, he's a dog of an agent, dude. He's good. And can you believe that Gunnar Helm, like he's been locked up and signed since like early summer. Some smart agent out there like just saw this. Agents are starting to kind of swindle around and like say like, can we get him? Like, no, man, like I got so and so, and he's like, he's actually a really good agent, and he saw this coming, and he locked him up early summer.
That's big.
It's just like what? Yeah,
he's had two big games like Michigan and Oklahoma, but he's missing he needs a game or two where he goes over 100 and he really goes hard. I think to kind of solidify himself in this Mackey conversation. And I know if anybody follows college football, they know like the name Harold Fannin at Bowling Green right now, who's a complete sicko. He's got like 700 yards on 50 receptions and 5 touchdowns. But when you look at Bowling Green, it's a 2-4 football team. And this guy has, it's like a 40, his target share is like 45 or 55%. He's the only player.
Well, that might be the Mackey if he's got a 45% target share.
He's on a horrible team.
Yeah, but still,
these awards.
Yeah, but I mean, Trey wasn't Trey McBride a Mackey award? He had a horrible team.
Yeah, but what was that record of that? I don't think that Colorado State team was horrible. Bowling Green is objectively college.
Trey McBride
had like what 100 and do you have like 100 and do you have like 100 receptions? 90 receptions,
but only 2 yards
and 1 touchdown. The team
only
was
one.
The team was 3-9.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you can win on a bad team. But
that's what I'm saying. If I think Helm's going to be a finalist for it for sure.
Yeah,
and like I said, if he can have a couple massive games, he's had a couple really good games. Again, 5 for 91, a touchdown, 7 for 98, a touchdown. Again, games with Quinn. When Arch is in, he doesn't do a ton because it's clear the connection is there with Quinn. If he can have a couple of games where maybe he pushes a 9 reception game or something like this, or maybe he has a game for 120, 130, 140 yards, which at this rate with these explosive plays, he's literally, leading the team in explosive plays right now, which is wild. And if I told you that 2 months ago, you would be like, what about Amari Niblack? What about Silas Bolden? What about Jonte Cook? What about Isaiah? Gunnar Helm would have been like literally 10th on your list.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely going to be a finalist at this rate, as long as all parties stay healthy. And I think it's interesting. I mean, since the award started in 2000, there's never been a Texas tight end. I think if you look at the history of the tight end at Texas, that's not exactly you wouldn't label it tight end university like Iowa, but
they've had some good ones. They got Jermichael Finley. We could talk about his kid tomorrow if you want. I've watched him. We got a bunch that we need to still get to tomorrow, but we're turning our attention squarely to Georgia. That's what happened versus Oklahoma. Somebody asked about Isaiah Bond. Sark said today that he had a good practice today, so it sounds like he's practicing. I think he's probably going to go, but we will not know for sure. Now, email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find me on X at Alex Dunlap NFL. You can find Cody at Cody Carpentier. Great way to get us. Again, remember Friday is the live show at Texas Beef Traders. Remember the Orange Blood special that's going to be going on Saturday. Make sure and go sign up for Orange Bloods. It's free until the end of the year. Remember the Orange Bloods Outsiders tonight. It has Reese Davis on, so make sure and stick around here. That's coming up in an hour and a half. And then, of course, thank you to Texas Beef Traders. Thank you to Poncho Outdoors, and thanks you to Specs for getting all 700 of you into the Specs chat line between X and YouTube. Thank you guys very much. We love you for being here. All we ask is you like the show, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, come back tomorrow, man. We're here every weeknight. We love you all. Thank you so much. God bless your families. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.